We're going to explain every medieval torture device like you're 5. If you're 4, please close the video. Actually, if you're 5, you should probably close the video too. Chapter 1. The Scold's Bridle. Imagine getting a cage bolted to your face because you talk too much. That was the Scold's Bridle, an iron frame locked around a woman's head with a metal plate pressed flat against the tongue so she physically could not speak. The crime? Gossiping, quarreling, or being, and I quote, too loud. The worst version, the Forfar bridle from Scotland, had spikes that pierced the tongue and the roof of the mouth. In 1655, a Quaker woman named Dorothy Waugh was locked in for 4 hours. Her crime was preaching in a marketplace. In 1789, a farmer strapped one on a woman and paraded her through a field while children threw things and screamed at her. His reason? To silence her clamorous tongue. Number 2. The ducking stool. If the bridle didn't shut you up, they brought out the chair. The ducking stool was exactly what it sounds like, a wooden chair attached to a long beam mounted over a river. The woman was strapped in and dunked repeatedly. The crime, again, was being a common scold. Also, adultery, prostitution, and genuinely brewing bad beer. Jenny Pipes, 1809, Leominster, became the last woman ducked in England. Her offense? Speaking ill of her husband. In 1731, a Nottingham woman was ducked so violently by a mob that she died. Chapter 3. The Heretic's Fork. A metal rod with 2 sharp prongs on each end strapped around the victim's neck, one end pressed under the chin, the other into the chest. You couldn't speak, you couldn't sleep, you couldn't move your head without the prongs driving into your flesh. It wasn't designed to kill you, it was designed to keep you awake, in silence, on the edge of madness, until you confess to heresy. The Spanish Inquisition loved this one. You know when your mom says, chin up? This is the opposite. Chapter 4. The Thumbscrew. Small, portable, devastating. The thumbscrew was a metal vise that fit over your thumbs, or fingers, or toes. A screw tightened 2 plates together, slowly crushing the bones between them. Some versions had spikes on the inside for extra encouragement. It originated in the Russian army before spreading across Europe like a product with 5-star reviews. The genius of the thumbscrew wasn't the pain, it was the duration. It rarely caused death or unconsciousness, which meant the torturer could use it for hours. You stayed awake, you stayed aware, you stayed in your body while it was being broken, 1 knuckle at a time. Like a finger trap, except the trap is made of iron, and the fingers don't come out the same way they went in. Is it working? He's screaming. But has he confessed? Not yet. Tighten it. Chapter 5. The Strappado. Hands tied behind your back, rope attached to your wrists. Then you're hoisted into the air. That's it. That's the device. No metal, no mechanism, just rope, gravity, and your own body weight slowly dislocating both shoulders. Weights could be added to your feet to speed things up. The worst variant, the jerk, dropped you suddenly and caught you mid-fall, tearing muscles and tendons in a single snap. Niccolo Machiavelli, the man who literally wrote the book on power, was strappadoed in 1513 after being accused of conspiring against the Medici family. He survived. Girolamo Savonarola wasn't so lucky. Strappadoed multiple times, he confessed, then recanted, then was burned at the stake anyway. Chapter 6. The Boot. The Spanish boot was a pair of iron or wooden casings strapped tight around both legs. Wooden wedges were hammered in between the boot and the shin. Each strike drove the wedge deeper. Each wedge crushed more bone. The torturer worked slowly, methodically, 1 mallet blow at a time, letting the victim feel every fracture. After enough wedges, the legs were destroyed, shattered from knee to ankle, pulp inside a shell. Nobody walked away from the boot. Some people never walked again, period. He says he's innocent. Add another wedge. Still innocent? Add another. Chapter 7. The Scavenger's Daughter. The rack pulled you apart. The Scavenger's Daughter did the opposite. It crushed you together. Invented by Sir Leonard Skevington during the reign of Henry VIII, the name corrupted over time from Skevington's daughter, this hinged iron frame forced the victim into a kneeling position, then compressed the body until blood surged from the nose and ears. Lungs filled, veins bulged, your own rib cage became the weapon. It lived in the Tower of London, right next to the rack like a matching set. One stretched, the other compressed. Between the two, there was nowhere for the human body to hide. Chapter 8. The Spanish Donkey. A sharp-edged triangular wooden beam, mounted 6 or 7 feet high on legs. The victim was stripped naked and forced to straddle it, their full body weight pressed down onto the razor-thin edge. Weights were added to the ankles. Hours passed, then days. The wood cut deeper. Very few people could walk afterward. Most bled out on the beam or died from infection later. Like a seesaw, except nobody's on the other end, and there's no seat, and you're slowly being divided in half. But yeah, a seesaw. It was invented by the French Inquisition in the 12th century and somehow made it all the way to the American Civil War, where Union soldiers used it on Confederate prisoners. George Washington himself approved its use in 1775. Rides lasted 2 hours. One man in colonial Canada was placed on it for the crime of gluttony. What's his crime? He ate too much. Put him on the donkey. For eating, he ate a lot. He ruptured. Chapter 9. The Head Crusher. A metal cap sat on the top of your skull. A plate sat under your chin. A screw connected them. Turn the handle and the gap between the cap and plate shrinks. First, the jaw shatters. Then the teeth explode inward. Then the facial bones collapse. Then the eye sockets give way. Some models had a small receptacle at the front to catch the eyes. Like a nutcracker, but the nut is your skull. First recorded in the Holy Roman Empire around 1530, the head crusher was used primarily on accused heretics. The torturer would sometimes tap the metal cap with a small hammer between turns, not to increase pressure, just to create booming echoes inside the victim's fractured skull. Chapter 10. The Pear of Anguish. A small metal pear-shaped device with 4 leaves joined at the base. Insert it into the mouth. Turn the screw. The leaves expand outward like a flower blooming, except the flower is made of iron and it's inside your face. Jaws crack, teeth shatter, tissue tears. It wasn't typically fatal, but it caused enough damage to make death feel like a reasonable alternative. And it didn't always go in the mouth. Different sizes existed for different orifices, assigned based on the crime. Blasphemy got the oral version. Other offenses got the other versions. Yes, really. Chapter 11. The Breast Ripper. This one isn't funny. 4 heated iron claws designed to tear the breasts from women accused of adultery, abortion, heresy, or, quote, erotic white magic. The claws were heated until red hot, then clamped into the flesh and pulled. In parts of France and Germany, a bite from a red-hot ripper was inflicted on unmarried mothers, sometimes in public, sometimes while their newborn children lay on the ground beside them. It was used from the 13th century through the early 1800s, almost exclusively on women, for crimes that men either committed alongside them or defined on their behalf. No dialogue here, no jokes, just the device, the screams, and 500 years of silence from everyone who watched. Chapter 12. The Rack. The most famous torture device ever built. A rectangular wooden frame with ropes at both ends attached to a mechanical crank. Wrists tied at the top, ankles at the bottom. Turn the crank, the body stretches. Joints dislocate, ligaments snap. Turn it further, and limbs separate from the torso. Introduced to England's Tower of London in 1420 by the Duke of Exeter, they nicknamed it the Duke of Exeter's daughter because nothing says affection like naming a bone-snapping machine after your family. Anne Askew, a Protestant preacher, was the only woman racked at the tower. She wrote, "My Lord Chancellor and Master Rich took pains to rack me with her own hands till I was nigh dead. Her legs were destroyed. She was carried by chair to her execution, burned at the stake, because she could no longer walk." Guy Fawkes was racked in the same building, same device. His signature before the rack, clean and steady. His signature after, barely legible, a shaking scrawl. The handwriting told the whole story. Chapter 13. The Breaking Wheel. A large wooden cart wheel, nothing more. The victim was tied to it, limbs spread across the spokes, and beaten with iron clips until every bone was broken. Arms first, then legs, then ribs. Like a piñata, except you're the piñata, and instead of candy, you drop, well, I don't think I need to tell you what you drop. The executioner worked outward from the extremities to keep the victim alive as long as possible. After the bones were shattered, the body was threaded through the spokes, woven into the wheel like rope, and the whole thing was raised on a pole in the town square, left there for days, sometimes weeks, as a warning. Some versions added spikes to the wheel. Others pushed it downhill with the victim still attached. The church believed it prevented resurrection, a punishment that extended past death into eternity. Chapter 14. The Brazen Bull. A hollow bronze statue of a bull, life-sized, a door on the side. The condemned is locked inside. A fire is lit underneath. The bronze heats, the person inside roasts alive. But here's the part that makes it legendary. The inventor, Paralaus of Athens, designed a system of pipes inside the bull that converted the victim's screams into the sound of a bellowing bull. He pitched it to Phalaris, the tyrant of Sicily, with these exact words: "His screams will come to you through the pipes as the tenderest, most pathetic, most melodious of bellowings." Smoke rose from the nostrils like incense. The thrashing of the body inside made the bull appear alive. Phalaris was horrified, so he told Paralaus to climb inside and demonstrate. Paralaus did. The fire was lit. He was pulled out half dead and thrown off a cliff. And Phalaris, years later, when he was overthrown, the people executed him the same way, inside the same bull. The inventor and the man who commissioned it both died inside it. Every device in this video was legal. Everyone was approved by a king, a court, or a church.